Again, Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty says this battle is good for the GOP. Good? How? He's going to tell you himself. He joins us live. Good evening, Governor. And why are these town hall meetings good for your party?
Well, those are the sights and sounds of democracy that you just played in action, Greta. And so anytime we can have the battle of ideas, I think the Republicans have the better ideas. And President Obama has put a flag in the ground saying this is a seminal moment for him. And he has put a proposal on the table that I think most Americans are figuring out is bad for the country and bad for them. And so we're seeing the pendulum start to swing back towards Republicans as a result. And like I say, he's making great promise on climate change. He's changing the political climate back to Republican.
So what is the strategy for your Republican Party as these town halls continue to unfold across the country during this recess?
Well, I think it's fair to say that this is a grassroots groundswell of people who are ticked off, concerned, they have questions, and they're expressing themselves, and that's why we have a democracy. So I'm not sure it's so much as part of a grand strategy as an awakening or a reawakening of the country, and people saying enough is enough with the federal government trying to take everything to Washington, D.C. We know the president was a former community organizer, but our definition of a community isn't the federal government in Washington, D.C. We have other notions about free enterprise, individual responsibility, freedom, liberty, and the like, and he's headed in a very different direction.
I suppose, Governor, right now being in charge of Democrats is a little bit like herding cats, because they've got the conservative Democrats and they've got the more liberal ones. But as a practical matter, the president and Speaker Pelosi and the Senate Majority Leader, they don't even need a Republican vote to get this passed. So what if they just go ahead, they get their own Democrats and forget about you Republicans and pass it? Then what?
Well, they have the votes to do that, but I think they've figured out that they would be ticking off the country. And so you have a situation where President Obama ran as at least in his words in many cases, as somebody who was trying to present himself as a centrist. He's now leading the nation as a hard left leader. And this is another example of that. And I think they could do it. They have the power to do it. But I think they've taken pause and put the clutch in because they realize the country is in revolt over it.
All right, I got to ask you this question. Your quote is saying that one member of the media has a man crush on the president. Who's that, and do you want to explain it?
Well, I jokingly said that the only thing rising faster than the debt and deficit of the federal government is Chris Matthews' man crush on Barack Obama. I was going to use the term, Greta, bromance, but I thought that was a little too nuanced.
All right, so at least now we know who has the man crush. All right, now, you've also been quoted as saying that Medicare is going bankrupt or almost bankrupt. So what would you do? Or Medicaid?
Well, it's not just Medicaid, Greta. If you look at all of the federal entitlement programs, they are essentially broke or going broke, and that includes Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and others. So when every program that they're running of an entitlement nature is basically on a pathway to bankruptcy, why would we give them power and authority over another one? They can't even manage the ones that they have. And so we have a different view of health care reform in this country. It needs to get done. Health care is too expensive for hardworking American families and small businesses and others. But having this go to Washington, D.C. is not the answer. We need to bring it back to the consumer, empower individuals, give them resources if they need help, but let them be in the driver's seat.
All right.